It's a tea.
Yes, I need that back.
So
I
cute.
need that back.
Yep. No.
No.
We gotta make sure I say hi.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome in, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Marshmallow lazy.
What is that?
Space unicorn,
Soaring through the stars.
delivering the rainbows all around the world.
Bring it home, Emma.
The rainbows,
Hey, Robin.
delivering the rainbows.
Hey,
See our
Kelly.
dog next time.
What's up, y'all? Hey, Angela. How's your day at work? How's the cheese warehouse? Woo! I want a high five, buddy. Yeah. Oh, more?
Yeah, it's too hard right here.
Woo! Space unicorn.
Yeah, way to go.
What a great way to start.
All
That
right.
was awesome, y'all.
Kids, you were released.
Thanks for dancing with us. Hi from Drew and Vera and Eric. They said hello.
Okay,
What's
that
up,
was
y'all?
all y'all got, apparently, of the kids. Maybe they will make a cameo in just a little bit. Hello.
Hello, welcome. My ears keep flopping down.
I know, we don't have,
I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna get
we don't
better.
have, like, pointy ears. We got some old, this is about how we feel these days. What is it? Saggy ears.
No, I don't. I feel fantastic. I got tons of good cheese
All right.
right in front of me.
Hello, y'all.
What's
Welcome in.
up?
So we're just, as you can tell, doing a little normal stalling. It might be just a tad loud. Is it?
Sounds good, yeah.
We're getting our mood setting here going on so we can feel you and your vibes. Let's see. We got 55 people tonight. We have 130 joining us at some point or another. I think, do you need to move that this way? Somehow we're not as set up as we were.
We're fantastic.
We're totally ready.
This is what I do every week. Honey.
I mean, I did get all of our Easter supplies out of the attic. I don't know when they have last, made an appearance.
All right. Woo, we got
Not the last
lots
couple
of
years.
comments
Oh,
coming
yeah,
through.
now
What's
we're
up,
seeing our
y'all?
comments. Okay.
This is outstanding, y'all.
Hi,
What a
Stacy
what a
and Justin. Hi, Missy.
fantastic start.
Hi, Danielle. Hello, Starclofts. All of you there.
Did y'all like our Space Unicorn song? It's a great start to any event. I was dancing along to Trolls just a few minutes before. These are all of our kids' greatest hits right now, and we just love them. They're good energy.
I'll turn the volume off. I can hear it.
Oh yeah, you can. That sounds fantastic. I got it. Awesome. We are setting up. We're just getting the kids into the back room. Elia apparently wants to finish her dinner now after saying no 30 times. Good job. I love you, honey. Welcome to date night. So this is Kendall's and my date night. Every Wednesday, we've been, this I think our 5th or 6th Facebook Live event so far. And yeah, we'll have 120 of us on tonight. So we're just waiting a few more moments as people come on. But welcome to our date night. And this is our first ever Easter candy and cheese class. This is going to be so much fun.
I feel like my mise en place is all here.
You need a drink.
Okay, that's what. Excuse us.
Excuse us.
Cheers.
I love you.
Happy date night. I don't know what you guys are drinking. I have a sparkling water here. John has a regular water. And then tonight we're also drinking a sparkling Vouvray from the shop because it just feels like Easter. We'll talk about it some. But let us know if you're drinking anything, whether it's alcoholic or not, what it is. And we'll try to incorporate and talk about what we think it pairs with as we get through here.
So we've got a happy birthday. We've got a happy Passover. We've got a hi Everett. Oh man, there are some good people
Hi, Claire
on
and
here
Jeff.
tonight.
Did you ask if anybody's celebrating anything?
I know they just started saying happy stuff. Is anybody celebrating something? We can give you a shout out.
In addition to Passover and Easter and whose
and
birthday?
It was Mary's birthday.
Mary's
this was a
birthday.
gift from her mom, which is awesome.
Oh.
Hey, Matt and Marissa, welcome. We are thrilled that y'all are here.
I think I feel off because there's like all of these bunnies
Things
staring
like
at us.
that.
I'm like, what? Who's in the screen with us?
Yeah, they're big and they're bold and they're here.
Clearly, this is not the norm. But what is the norm these days? So we're gonna roll with it. Almost wedding anniversary. Happy wedding anniversary, Addie.
Woo!
Okay, Sauvignon Blanc, we see. The Vouvray, yay Lee, that's what we're on.
All right, Danielle is doing a cigar and a double shot of whiskey. All right, that is going to be outstanding. We got some more Vouvray coming, a birthday for it.
And rosé will be great.
Y'all,
all right.
This is so exciting. So Kendall and I have been super eager to see our plates show up. I finally picked up at 4:45 today.
So we did the same process as you. We are staying away from our shop. Our shop is segmented into 5 or 6 different teams, and we don't have any overlap. So whenever we need products or food from our shop, we do the same thing that you all do. We order it online, we pull up, we do curbside pickup, and our team puts it in the back. And so we got it just the same and just unwrapped it like you probably did. If you're positioning your plate for the neurotic like me, we will ask that you put your wafer crackers at 12 o'clock, and then when we get started going, we're going to go around clockwise and we'll take you through each one. If this is your first time joining us, we will talk about each cheese, and invite you to eat it, talk about it, and do it in like a sensory way. I know it's really hard to do.
You're doing a split.
I know. There's just no hope.
No, there's not.
I really, here, if I just hold my head this way.
I put them in front of my ears.
I look like a unicorn.
Oh, a unicorn.
So we'll invite you to eat each cheese a certain way first, so we kind of ask you to stick with us, because to eat the rind, to not, we'll walk through that, and we want to throw in a little bit of cheese lesson, but if you're hoping for a lot more cheese lesson, that would definitely be a different talk. This one we're just planning on getting silly, right?
Yeah, we're having fun tonight. We have done the Halloween class now for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
I've never gotten to teach one. Have you?
No.
Yeah, so in all the years...
we've had kids the last 4 or 5 years.
And we've had kids. So we've never gotten to teach our world-famous, according to BuzzFeed, Halloween and cheese pairing. And so Kendall and I'm thrilled. I'm like super excited. Plus, we got a couple extra of each of the candies that we can share with the kids. So you're going to see them go ravenous at some point during this tasting. They'll run out here yelling for Peeps. I've always wanted to try Peeps with cheese. It's been on my bucket list, and in about 30 minutes, I'm going to finally get to enjoy that.
So in case you're like, oh, what did they pair or not? We have done our Halloween candy and cheese pairings, and so we based some off of those, but really we just looked down all the list of Easter candies that I think between Target, Walmart, and Amazon, and we had to plan. We planned it, 10 days ago? Mm-hmm. So some things we couldn't get, probably like some of your local Easter bunnies who are trying to source. So we had, as well as the Easter bunny, had to go off of what magic was readily available in the distribution pipeline.
But we crushed it.
But we found some new things like this lemon Kit Kat. So when you think of how did we get to tonight, really there is some science involved. There's some theoretical, like how do you pair something? And for instance, acid, which is why I love a white wine, certain white wines with a goat cheese, and why we're going to put it with this lemon bar. So there's some theory behind it, but some of these may be awesome. Some of them may flop, and I think everything is just going to be fun because it's going to be really weird on our palates and not flavors that we're used to. So we hope you're along for the ride, and this doesn't turn you off of our shop forever.
This may be the greatest pairing ever done, and it could be a challenge night. We'll find out.
Elliot keeps cueing us lately. She'll do that. Dun, dun, dun. Thanks. Dun, 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 dun. Or it could be the worst.
So Lindsay already said we crushed it. So
great.
Perfect. We got the thumbs up after 9 minutes. I'm feeling really positive now.
All right, so I feel like most people are sitting down, and
should we just do the tasting and get the palate ready and then dive into eating, or do you want to just dive into eating tonight?
No, I do want to get our palates ready.
All right.
But I just quickly, for those of you who don't know, John and Kendall Antonelli, Antonelli's Cheese Shop. We opened up 10 years ago. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary this past February. I probably shouldn't have made so many jokes about making it 10 years and the rest is history, because all of a sudden, 2 months later, so many businesses are struggling to survive if we're kicking it. So my huge just gratitude and appreciation. So no matter what time, again, it feels weird saying this with these ears like this, but thank you. By you tuning in tonight, you are helping sustain our shop. You are helping keep our team employed, and you are helping the producers that we represent who are having a lot of tough times right now. So thank you. That is all part of our Do Good, Eat Good mission, and we appreciate you. So that's what I'm grateful for this Easter.
Me too. I'm feeling blessed. Our team is so grateful for all the support that you guys are giving us. Yep. All right, eating time. Hint,
I was like, I already did that part.
hint accepted.
Yes,
I'm
we
just saying
appreciate
we're
you,
grateful.
team. Okay, you're going to do it, and I'll
All
do the
right.
nose plug.
So we're going to do an abbreviated entry into our tasting because we want to spend more time just sort of eating and goofing around tonight, get these ears going. But what I really want to showcase, what we're aiming for, because these are all theoretical pairings. Like we looked at what we get on Target.com and Walmart, like Kendall said, and then we just kind of chose cheeses based off what we thought would go well. I love seeing the hearts and all the thumbs up. Y'all are crushing it on emojis and comments. We have 3 different screens set up so I can keep up with comments. So awesome.
I just talked to y'all. I don't even look at it.
Yeah, Kendall, you just eat and hang out and drink. But what we're really going to be experimenting with is our palate tonight. So the texture, feel the cheeses. We'll look at everything together, talk about what we see. These pretty colors make everything feel like springtime at this time of year, 95 degrees like it was today or whatever it felt like.
Record high, they said this afternoon.
Yeah. We'll taste everything. And so on your tongue, taste is where your taste buds come together and send these signals to your brain, yada, yada, yada. It's salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and umami. And what's important about that is Kendall likes to talk about how the map on our tongue historically has been a map. They said this section is over here and this is over here. I remember in like 7th grade science class, they'd have you put something on like a toothpick and like hold it against the side of your tongue to see if something would happen. It's not exactly that way. The taste buds are aligned different ways, and it's different for each one of us. So your taste might be very different than what we're experiencing. And then your olfactory, your nose.
And it is why some of us can taste bitter or more sensitive to bitter than others. It's because every one of our palates is different. So we're going to talk through what we taste, and our palates are different. But you can also chime in on that was completely incorrect or not according to my palate, and we'd love to hear that too.
Yes. And so,
but we're going to try to calibrate our palates.
One of the things that I just thought about is for those of you that signed on a little bit late, you may want to watch the intro just after we're all done. Watch it over again because you missed our dance party entry. It was pretty spectacular.
I was like,
tonight.
what did we miss? Yeah.
Well, I thought that's part of the experience, watching the ears fly back and forth. Anyway.
That's why you paid good money is to watch our floppy ears.
It's awesome.
Okay, let's calibrate our taste
So
buds.
what we're going to be doing right here is isolating the olfactory, because that's where when Kendall and I talk about flavor tonight, what we experienced, that's what we're talking about, is what happens when taste and aroma come together. They create flavor. So this is just isolating the olfactory. So what I want you to do, pinch your nose, start chewing on this corn nut that's on about 6 o'clock on our plate. Start chewing on it. You'll taste salt, maybe a little bitter, but it doesn't have that much panache. It doesn't have that much flavor. Then I want you to release your nose and exhale out. Yeah. Hey, Aunt Melissa. Hey, Aunt Catherine.
Aunt Catherine.
Aunt Kate. Sorry,
Kate.
Aunt Kate. I'm like, well,
That's your Facebook name. When I
name.
plugged my nose, all I could taste was salt. It just tasted salty. And then as soon as I released my nose and through the olfactory, that's where flavor happened for me with it. It tasted like popcorn. Somebody else said Frito pie one time, and I was like, yes, Frito pie.
So good.
So it just goes to show you, our palates are actually very limiting on what they can taste, and almost everything that we think about with flavor is through the olfactory, which is why when you have a cold, you can't taste a lot of stuff. So all that being said, as we eat this evening, try not to just mindlessly throw it back. Instead, we want you to put it on your palate and kind of be breathing out at the same time, just as you would at a wine tasting or beer tasting, to really get the full flavor and expression of that cheese. And our goal is that, yes, we're going to have a wacky, fun time, but at the end of the day, we just hope you fall in love with some new cheese makers and their stories and their labor of love on this plate. So
That's awesome.
Okay.
Our niece Dylan just said she loves us. Sweet
Hi.
emoji work, Dylan. That's awesome.
Okay, these crackers are...
And Danielle said, is this how you smell and color? I would say yes. You're the whole rainbow right there. If don't pinch your nose every time you eat, but at least do it right before tasting every time.
These are gluten-free, right? We put the rice. So
rice
these
wafers.
are rice wafers. Your rice wafers are at 12 o'clock. Those are really meant to just be a palate cleanser here or there, or if you get tired of hearing us talk and you're like, please let me get to the next bite, just eat a bite of one of those until we dive into the next one.
These are amazing new products. We brought it in from Rutherford and Meyer, which is based out of New Zealand. Jan is a good friend of ours. But this is most of us that have shopped in any grocery store in the world have probably seen those water wheel crackers before. This is their gluten-free option and actually has Parmigiano Reggiano in it.
That's what I taste. I didn't even know that. I was like, this doesn't taste good.
It tastes more like awesome cheese than it is. So I'm like addicted to these things. So we thought this has that element of almost a touch of sweetness tonight that might play well with some of the sugar that's on the plate.
All right, as we dive through, we are not doing a Cheese 101 tonight, which is what we call at Antonelli's the 7 styles of cheese. But on the back of your menu, you do have a cheat sheet there of a Cheese 101. We do some different Cheese 101s. But for the most part, we're following a Cheese 101
structure,
because each cheese is kind of a different category and style. So we'll just loosely mention some of that. So if we start with our first cheese, which is next to the lemon Kit Kat. I'm so excited about who knew these things existed.
Brand new.
We had to search multiple Walmarts for that. So if we start with our first one, it's the big fluffy white cotton ball. Let's call it a
cloud, a fluffy cloud.
No, I was going to call it, what is it, cottontail? A bunny rabbit.
A bunny rabbit, okay.
Little bunny cottontail hopping down the bunny trail.
Perfect.
I have no idea where that came from.
2nd grade.
I don't know the words. That's just
long time ago.
Okay, so we're going to call it the bunny tail cheese. It's your big white fluffy cloud. You can go ahead and eat it. Smell it first. It doesn't have much of a smell. If anything, it smells lactic, like milk. It's a fresh cheese meant to be eaten within a day or two, but can also keep for a couple weeks. This is a goat's milk cheese.
I know somebody out there just swallowed their entire portion of this cheese, probably. What I recommend is saving a little bit back for later. You might want to save some of the candies, save some of the bites, and try it later with each other and just play around. You might not want to swallow it all in one bite.
Okay, that was great because it gave me time to taste that bite. So goat's milk cheese is known for being acidic, grassy, tangy, minerally. And I immediately put that in, and it's because I'm looking at candies. I thought of a lemon drop. I was like, oh my gosh, it tastes just like a lemon drop, which is why I'm going to pair it with this lemon wafer. So goat's milk cheeses have that minerality, and just they're known for that tanginess. As they age out, it can take on a little bit of a sweeter flavor profile.
You want to talk about Chrissy for a second?
Yeah, I do. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you. I'm getting there. This is made, CKC Farms is in Blanco, so very near to here, just past Irving Springs. Also, fun fact, coincidentally, next to Kendall County, the town of Candelia, where I'm named after by my hippie parents, who didn't name me for 6 weeks or 6 months after I was born. Anyway, no weird stories there. Nope. CKC stands for Chrissy, Kenneth, and Connor. Chrissy is now a mature woman. But that being said, she started making cheese when she was about 16 after an inspired trip to Europe, came back, wanted to have goats, trained with Amelia at Pure Luck Farm and Dairy. And now Chrissy has a herd of goats that are Nubian, no, she doesn't have Nubian. Alpine, Lamantian, and Nubian.
Yeah. Nubian.
So breed does matter. So the things that affect your flavor of cheese are species, breed, and seasonality, which we can talk about later. She is a farmstead producer. What that means is she has her own animals on the farm, that they milk on the farm and make the cheese on the farm. So it's just basically a lot of work. You have to be a specialist in everything, from birthing goats to making cheese and the science of it to marketing and distribution. So I think that was enough on the cheese.
Yeah.
Let's talk about pairings.
Kit Kat. So good. We all are familiar with the red and white label. So Kit Kat introduced this lemon crisp. I got to do all the candy research today. I was super
how is he going to talk about candy forever?
They introduced this. This is a 2020. They released this just a couple weeks ago in January. And they wanted to have a flavor inspired by springtime. And so what's interesting about that, so they packaged it in yellow, something bright and something fresh. What's interesting about that is the seasonality of goat's milk is pretty important. And this is the time when the ladies are giving birth to the kids, and this new fresh milk is being produced. It's richer, it's almost heavier on your palate, creamier than, say, the drier goat cheeses later in the season. And so there's this really nice connection between what they were inspired to do with this springtime and what's happening in the milk.
So this should be a taste of spring
A taste of spring.
And if we're going to any Easter themes, an awakening, a rebirth, if you will, but it should just hopefully be a really refreshing bite. So you might wonder how we put it together. I just had a bite of the cheese and a couple drinks. I'm going to have a bite of just the Kit Kat to me, with them both kind of on my palate, and then I'm going to try them together. So there's no right or wrong way to do pairings. Sometimes I'm just marrying the flavor profiles in my mind, so I like it separately, but they're complementary. And sometimes I like it both on my palate, but it's just a weird texture bomb. So we're going to go for it. It looks like some of y'all are already doing it.
So one of the things that, and if you have questions at any point, please just put them in the comments. Kendall and I love tangents. We're really good at tangents. We can follow them forever, and then we can get back on track. So definitely ask questions. But what I loved about the Kit Kat story that I read today was that the way it came about was that one of the employees at a candy factory in the UK put in a suggestion box, can we make a candy that a man could put in his lunchbox? And they came up with the 4-finger chocolate crisp, which is the predecessor. This was in 1935. This is the predecessor of the Kit Kat. They eventually named it Kit Kat after World War II, which I think is like super duper cool. I love the history of this stuff. Hershey's, Nestle, Mondelez. It's like eventually they all became one company, it seems like. I'm not sure yet. I can figure that out. But over the histories, when all of these were formed, they have these incredible starts. And so this was somebody's comment in a suggestion box, one of the employees. I'm like, my team has amazing ideas and amazing comments, and we run with them all the time. But I think this was probably a suggestion. This chocolate company, and so one of the.
I had no idea we were going to get so much candy last.
Why not? It's fascinating.
Okay, I just tasted it, y'all. When I put the Chev on top of the cookie, the Kit Kat. When I bit them together, at first it was a little weird, which I thought it would be. But then I was surprised. I didn't taste the Kit Kat at all. I tasted just all of the tanginess, so it just tasted like a tangy Chev. And then at the end of it, the sweetness and the sugar, the residual sugar on your palate from all that awesome fake processed sugar in the Kit Kat is what I got. So it actually, they rose to the occasion together. I was like, oh, it's all Chev. It's going to beat it. Because we want both of them to kind of stand up to each other. But then the Kit Kat came through. Did you put them together?
I did, and you know what? It's OMG, the lemon Kit Kat. That is correct. That's how.
It's Marissa.
You know what? This morning, Kendall and I broke out
Yay, Drew.
a jar of confiture lemon curd.
Oh, yeah, we traditionally often put lemon curd here.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting, the mouthfeel of that, like a thick, like almost pudding texture with that sweetness and the lemon. It would have been really fascinating to do this with like a lemon gumdrop, but I like the sugar here, and it's not overly. It's like
I did
white
say
chocolate.
this was a little more. Wasn't expecting white chocolate. I don't know what I was expecting, but so I wanted more of like a lemon and chocolate, not white chocolate flavor profile with it. So lemon drops next time, but I actually liked it. I thought it was okay.
So we've got a comment that says, I was today years old when I had the best candy and cheese pairing ever. Break me off a piece of that
Kit Kat bar. History.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting props from my.
Do you remember it was like all construction workers like
knowledge.
sitting out on cranes and irons? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So good. And a little pro tip. I figured this out right after Halloween this year. If you accidentally keep a Kit Kat bar in the car and it melts all the way down, and then you throw it into the freezer, that was my best bite of candy in 2019. It was awesome. Anyway, Kit Kats in the freezer. That's a new thing.
Also, we just don't have Kit Kats around that much.
Hashtag awesome. All right.
Okay.
Should we go to number 2? I feel like that was a good start.
Okay, next up we are going to a sheep's milk cheese. So if goat's milk is known for being tangy and acidic, sheep's milk is known for being really rich, and it's the fattiest of all the milk styles, at least on our plate tonight. This one is in your brie style. You can tell that because it has this white rind along the outside of it. That's always your visual cue. This is caña de oveja. It comes in a long log, so I'm going to touch your cheese, baby.
Yeah, go after it.
So here are 2 pieces together, these 2 half moons.
Oh, they're so cute together.
Oh, you're a boo-boo. Okay. And then excuse us, excuse our love fest. And it's about this long. So Kanya meaning a log. I gave myself the bigger one when I gave it back. Fun things about this cheese, you can see all the different, well, you kind of can't in mine. You want to stand up closer? But there's an inner chalky paste. Then there's a cream line, that yellow. Yeah, Johnny, this looks like a lemon wedge. They have that cream line right around the rind, and then you actually have the rind. So when you taste this, make sure you just get a piece of the inner curd first. You can just take a bite out of the center like an apple. Then try to taste a little bit closer under the rind, and then you can taste with the. So basically, you're getting 3 different flavor profiles in one. It becomes a little more aggressive, sometimes saltier towards the rind. And it's going to be creamier. That's the cream line. And what that mold on the outside is doing is pulling the moisture out of that cheese, which is why towards the outside it's creamier than as you get to the inside. And if this aged out longer, it would get creamier all the way through. This is made by Queseria Montesinos. We went and visited these cheesemakers in Spain last summer. I'm going to give it a bite. And you can
yeah, oh, it's so good. Their process is pretty amazing. What they do, they almost turn the curds. Typically, when you see a cheese curd, it's like an odd little shape. It can be, but it's got a structure to it. They almost turn the curd into like a yogurt mixture before they make this cheese, and it's all intellectual property. But it was when we walked into the space and looked at how they actually produce it, my mind was blown. And so I'm not even sure I could talk about how they make it because it's so amazing. But they do this oveja, and they do a goat's milk version, which is spectacular.
They also do this cheese and slice it super thin and freeze dry it, and it's a specialty in Spain at McDonald's.
On the hamburgers.
How crazy is that? They just our kids like a frozen ice cream of cheese, and they loved it. All right, so normally as soon as you bite it, you can feel it's just like chalky and it's all over your mouth. It almost tastes like eating peanut butter. If you're drinking sparkling water or any kind of sparkling water, this is my favorite time to drink it because it's just like so palate coating, it's all over your mouth.
Yeah, you have to like lick it off like peanut butter.
Now, John and I had a lover's quarrel about whether we could put an Oreo on because it's not really candy, it's a cookie, but we decided not everybody's a chocolate lover. We needed to break some things up. Normally at Halloween, we pair this with a Snickers. And so think about when you were eating that inner chalky paste, that texture. We pair it with that like peanut butter nuttiness of a Snickers. So let's see how we do when time we're pairing cream to cream.
You can tell me if you're really disappointed that there's a cute Oreo cookie on your plate or not.
We needed a splash of color, y'all.
This is one of their seasonals. Again, they just do Easter cookie. I've never seen one of these before until we were on that website. Different. It's a golden Oreo, so it's one more maybe towards the vanilla flavor profile than the chocolate. But Oreo was made by the National Biscuit Company, Nabisco, in 1912. And one of the cool facts that there was one particular food scientist that worked on the Oreo cookie over the years, and he had 4 different patents specifically for the cream filling that was inside of the Oreo. 4 patents just for that. It's an amazing thing that they are able to create that. And so this is just limited edition. This is probably all sold out already in stores. But I just thought they were amazing. Are you trying to make it
feel special for them that they have this Oreo?
I feel special. The kids only get one. They have to split.
Elia has been watching, our daughter, who's 5, has been watching too much YouTube while we're trying to homeschool at work. And she'll walk around somewhere and go, this limited edition glassware, and she has no idea what she's saying, but she's like, that's what they say, it's a limited edition. So enjoy your limited edition Oreo. So flavor-wise, both of the candies we can see bring out the salt of the cheese. So they're contrasting in that way where the sugar's bringing out the salt. This one is really interesting texturally because it's just so much chew. So yeah. I loved it with my sparkling Vouvray. Apart, I had all this mouth work going on.
What I found was interesting was that the Oreo was mostly texture.
Yeah.
While the cheese was in your mouth. You were getting some of that, a little hint of vegetal coming through on the top of the palate. Did you just do the inside or did you do the rind too?
I'll do the rind. Okay, to eat the rind or not, we say, the cheesemaker usually says it's part of the cheese, eat the rind, depends on the style of cheese. We always give it a try. If we like it, we eat it. If we don't, we don't. Life is too short Too many rules out there, y'all. Okay, so with the rind, you're thinking this style of cheese is known for being more vegetal, and you get that flavor profile more in the rind. So I didn't do the rind with it. I'm going rind.
I tried the rind with it, and I really liked it. I think it. Oh yeah, Bradford said that he's not disappointed that the Oreo is on the. We won't say who didn't want the Oreo and who did want the Oreo. We'll keep that part private. But I think when with the rind.
Shelly said I know you're not an Oreo eater, Shelly. We have a nutritionist on, Dr. Shelly Sethley, who's joining us for Easter Candy Night just to support us.
Okay, so
I'm still chewing.
David, I'd love to know. You just said the Oreo or the cheese. Did you eat it with the rind or not?
Yeah, it's totally different with the rind, right? So now I liked it better with the rind.
Yeah.
Also, my Oreo, honestly, the side that was close to the cheese was a little bit softer, and that bothers me, like because it's been in the refrigerator.
That's fair.
So next time, Kendall and John, that you do this, I need a fresh cookie on the plate if I'm going to be high maintenance about it. But
okay,
I liked
I'll
it
let
better.
Kendall know. I'll let her know.
Tell those people. But I like it better with the rind, absolutely. And I would not have guessed that. I was a little close to do it. So yeah, who was it that didn't like it? Try it with the David. Did you try it with the rind?
No, but maybe he did and he didn't like it. But you're right. There is a strong flavor profile on the cookies themselves. Oh, he did it with the cream line. Nice work. So anyway, it's a fascinating play. And hey, next year we'll just have to try something else.
You have to vote at the end. It always says you can vote as many times as you want. But for me, I'm not going to say what I'm personally thinking because I think.
Hey, Helder.
Helder.
Oh, hey, Mom. What's up, Mom?
Chiming in from Florida and Chicago. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Next up.
I'm feeling good so far.
Okay.
Why don't you do Red Hawk? I'll just keep hitting the candy. I'm loving this.
Great, because I did not research the history of candy. I didn't know that was going to happen. But
I'm so proud of myself.
Somebody had to make 10,000 loaves of banana bread with an over-purchaser of bananas today. Yeah. Okay, next up is our washed rind cheese. If when you first opened your plate, you thought, ooh, something stinks, it's this one. So feel free to pick it up and give it a smell. Washed rind cheeses are known for being...
Unless decided not to shower during the COVID experience. That is
I had not
possibility.
showered until... The only reason I'm getting dressed these days is to sit down when we do these Facebook Live events. And occasionally because I'm walking behind my kids' electronic ring and should have clothes on. But when they were on, I think that's the first time that all four of us have been dressed in the last 2 weeks at the same time.
Most likely.
Okay, so washed rind cheeses are, you can always tell because they have this orange, reddish, kind of wet-looking rind occasionally. You're washing them in a brine solution or saltwater solution.
Now your mom is on.
Oh, hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
You're washing it in a solution that's so acidic that all these other molds and spores can't really grow on it. And it's basically akin, honestly, to leaving like your gym clothes after you're sweaty or freaking today when it was hot and going for a walk, leaving them in the corner and letting them develop their own special
perfume
funk and trying to intentionally grow that on the cheese. So if you're grossed out, I'm sorry, this is my favorite category of cheeses. Oftentimes these smell more aggressively than they taste, so the bark is worse than the bite. Sometimes the bite is pretty aggressive. This cheese, get a bite of the inside first, and then you can get a bite with the rind. This, I can already tell, is aged a little bit longer out on this cheese. So if, depending on how you like it, there's a younger way to get this cheese, which it's more bright red than this more darkish orangey hue. This is Red Hawk from Cowgirl Creamery in California. It is a triple creme washed rind. So usually triple cremes are in your Bloom, your Brie category. But this is a unique washed rind cheese. So that means it has over 75% butter fats. They add cream back into it when the making of the cheese. So this is like basically as close as you can get to butter, but eating cheese. So this one smells pretty aggressive. I think it's going to be pretty easy going on the palate. What else should I say? Oh, this is an award-winning cheese.
Yep. Our first American Cheese Society conference was 2009. This cheese came second best of show at that competition. It was remarkable. Deborah Dickerson, who is one of the people that is involved with the Cowgirl Creamery, was on our tasting. Even though she lives in California, we're doing these first-of-a-kind behind-the-scenes with producers across the world.
We just did our first one last weekend, and our second one is Saturday.
Yeah, our first one was 5 producers across Europe, and this one is Jasper Hill Farm. And so Deborah signed on to be a part of that experience. So
Deborah's also our mentor.
Yeah, major kudos. Sue and Peg Connolly are mentors too at Cowgirl.
I would say if there's a godmother
of cheese,
like the fairy godmother in Cinderella.
Oh yes,
it would be Deborah Dickerson
with a wand.
Yeah,
for sure. 100%.
She just like makes magic happen wherever she goes. So we love you, Deborah.
And so this cheese is just really special. What I was too busy reading awesome comments. Did he talk about how it was a mistake?
Nope.
All right. So one of the cool pieces of history for this cheese is that they were making a cheese called Mount Tam, which they still make, and a lot of people know about. It's more like a brie style with the white mold, but at a certain time of the year, all of a sudden, this other bacteria, this Brevibacterium lineans, showed up in this West Marin area. It showed up and it impacted the cheese, and so they're like, "Oh well, let's wash it to get rid of this stuff." And then what ended up happening is they kept washing it and they kept creating an environment that was even better for this bacteria to thrive. And so this cheese just ended up happening, and they ate it and they loved it, and they went with it, and then they just kept making it.
Sorry, this is just for my own. I thought that was Saint Sir Francis Drake. Is that also?
Yeah, this one.
Cool.
That's the lore.
So some of the best cheeses often are mistakes, and then the hard part is figuring out how to replicate it over again. Hi, Aunt Merity. Okay, so let us know if you think it's too pungent. It's definitely stinky, but it doesn't taste as stinky. And now I'm gonna pair it with this peanut butter cup. I think John is most looking forward to this pairing. John is a Reese's Pieces guy.
If you want to comment what is the least popular candy probably on the planet, then we can say that Reese's peanut butter cups are probably the most popular in my brain. It's how
Are we having a candy war?
We're gonna get there. That's all right. So, but you can tell me what candies are like.
I'm team candy, and John is team chocolate.
Most of the time in a candy bin, the Tootsie Rolls are what's left over.
Yeah, nobody's team Tootsie Roll.
So, but this was HB Reese. He was born on my dad's birthday, May 24th, in 1879. Not the same day, but
same year.
Not the same year, exactly. But he and his wife, they had 16 kids, and in the early 1903ish, they were having some tough money problems. So he got a job at a dairy that made milk that would be used at the Hershey Chocolate Company. And eventually he got promoted to work in a chocolate factory there. And he was just experimenting on the side. He was trying to make income for his 16 kids. So he's experimenting on the side, doing candy in his basement. And one of the ideas that he came up with was the peanut butter cup. He called it the Wikipedia entry, or the Eater entry that I was reading, said it was called a penny cup. It cost a penny for somebody to buy it back in the day. And so he created this empire, which kept growing. And Hershey's didn't mind because it was basically a customer. What I did find out, which was super cool, and there's two places. Well, we'll get to it with the M&Ms. It was so fascinating.
I'm like, I feel like I can't make my eyebrows go, whoa, enough.
Hershey was like the godfather of chocolate. This company owned all chocolate. I'll talk about that during M&M too. But he basically was this chocolate maker, Reese, was buying from Hershey to make his bars. So Hershey wasn't upset by this competition or anything. And unfortunately, he died a little younger than he was expected to. And the sons sold the company to Hershey. So Hershey ended up buying it. They got a stake in the company, a 5% stake in Hershey, for selling this recipe to them. And, well...
And the rest is...
Yeah, they're really wealthy at this point. And so...
Okay, so John, while you were telling this awesome story...
everybody in the world was asking questions.
So first of all, Mary, I saw you, girl. You said this was a challenge cheese. We do like that there's usually one challenge cheese on every plate, and it often is the wash line, so I hear you. This one, again, is a version of what we do at Halloween, which I don't remember who on the team came up with it, if it was you, John, or Casey, but somebody, we put together Reese's Pieces Buttercups and Red Hawk, and that has been the all-time. Some people don't like it, but it's when people like it, it's one where everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And you guys, Natalie said holy moly, Amy, Let's see. Oh yeah, and then there's a lot of people who are team chocolate. Yeah. Okay.
Reese's for life. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so this one is David liked it. Lee, Claire. It says it's divine. Emily, awesome. Okay, so if you haven't yet,
it keeps
put
going.
them together.
Divine.
Why don't you taste it together?
I'm like loving this moment. I'm gonna go devour the entire pack.
Okay, I'm gonna like put them together. And the corn nuts are by this. This would be a good one to kind of go in to like break up this and do a little salty bite. All right, it just feels so weird. So texturally, this is a weird one to me because it's just like all mush in your palate. But I got bubbles.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really good.
So good. You can enjoy it. We can actually have a moment of quiet.
It's like weird good. It's the most quiet that's been around our house in 20 something days. Okay, I'm saving a little bit back, even though I want to eat it, to try it with something else. Because it would be fun to try this Reese's with the last Caña de Oveja that we just did. This will also go great with the next cheese. Okay, I'm going to try to withhold myself. Okay, if you've been drinking so far.
We got the pairing is rich with 3 money signs, which I'm assuming is an expletive that I just don't quite know.
Yes, so somebody talked about wine. All of these first 3, the first 2 especially, I would prefer with a white, with something that was dry and acidic. And also the rosés that were out there. I think the third would actually go with a white as well, and then moving into something like Riesling. But it could also take a red because it's a stinky, heartier cheese, and then you have the richness of the peanut butter. So I think you can go lighter red. Normally, this early on in tasting, I'm like, don't put a big red with it. I actually think this could handle a big red, and it would be quite delicious, and we should have 2 wines out.
And then play with salami, prosciutto, speck, something like that. Can play really well with this style of cheese. Eric asked, he wants to know what pairs with it besides the chocolate. You should just ask your daughter, who's pretty much a cheesemonger. She'd know exactly what jar pairs well with chocolate.
And they are not meat eaters, so you can't give them.
Exactly.
So also, what I really like with these savory cheeses is bringing out savory jams. So we have an apple and onion jam. We have like a hearty mustard. So I would love this just like smeared on some pumpernickel bread with a mustard seed or hearty mustard. That like taking it to that like German Bavarian style with like a big German beer would be delicious as well. 2
pro tips. I don't know why I'm saying pro tip. We're not really pros. But
you know some bad candy history now.
The first one, I feel pretty important. The first one is that this Red Hawk, wash drying. If you're a cheesemonger and you love all flavors of cheese, a wash drying with like sweet strawberry jam on a grilled cheese is heaven. Like that is a flavor combination that's incredible. The other one is that right now, so I listened to a candy episode around Halloween on NPR, and they were interviewing this random person about his favorite all-time candies, and he mentioned the Reese's peanut butter eggs, which are like basically like the big Cadbury eggs, but Reese's peanut butter. I had never heard of this before. I had never experienced one before or seen one, but I saw it like 4 weeks ago. I finally found one. And they are ridiculously good. I actually prefer them better than the peanut butter cups overall. So if you have a chance to find one of those big peanut butter eggs, awesome. Woo! Elliot Joe's giving a high five, all 130 of you. Oh.
5 thumbs up?
5 thumbs up?
No, what was it?
What are we doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. That means I'd like to speak.
Oh, she'd like to speak.
I just came out here.
You gotta be over here.
And eat this, and it's my favorite.
It's the only one you've had so far, but it's your favorite so far?
Yeah.
Thanks for the commentary, sis.
You were awesome, Ellie.
All right. Next cheese.
Yep.
Rolling right along.
Let's do it.
Okay, you're going to have to unsettle it because there's a little overlapping play of awesomeness. So, another one of the most popular cheeses ever. This is Hallerhocker. It's this big, beautiful piece. Hallerhocker meaning cellar dweller. This is out of Switzerland.
Yeah. So this is sorry.
Cow's
You're
milk
so
cheese.
excited.
I know. I was like smelling. So oftentimes you'll see us break it to smell it, and that's to like get that aroma going again. It has a natural rind. It is washed when it's younger, but not the same way as the washed rind cheese, which continually keeps it washing, and they start to let it dry out in the aging caves.
Yeah, so this particular cheese Hallerhocker is like, it has a cult following in the cheesemonger world. So there is this really insane picture of this little kid's face that's on the sticker. If you have two screens and you really want to have a good laugh or scare, go and look up Hallerhocker logo on your web browser.
Cheesemongers have this like tattoo
on
all
their
over the bodies.
Yeah,
at Halloween, it's made into like a Jason mask, not Jason Myers.
Yeah,
you don't. Oh, like I'm asking you.
I only watch rom-coms. I don't do.
John doesn't do any scary movies. But yeah, the one where it's like the white mask. Anyway, there's like a mask and you cut out the eyes. But it's supposed to be the sun running down looking through the windows and peering in, like to see with excitement the cheese is aging in there. You don't get to go on. Nope, sis.
And so
nope.
this cheesemaker has a ton of experience. So this is his creation. So it's in the style of the Alpine cheeses like Gruyere or Comté. So you're going to get some of that like slight earthiness, brown butter, onion, garlic.
Yeah, I often think these taste like French onion soup in cheese form.
And so
umami, bouillon cube, beef broth. Is that what did you say all those things?
No,
caramelized onions.
Aged for at least like 10 months, so the flavor develops. And like when you are looking for a cheese of this style, you're typically looking for, this is like a flavor bomb. It's so intense. It instantly hits your palate. He is Walter is world-class cheesemaker.
All these are so good together. Okay, so it went something weird. We were really looking on this one to go with the nuttiness. Yeah. And we're pairing with that toasted nuts flavor profile. And so we chose, which we'd never seen before, hazelnut M&Ms. I'll tell you when we do the next candy. Okay. So we're pairing with this hazelnut M&Ms, right?
Yeah,
which we had never seen before.
So these M&Ms came about in 1941. Again, super cool history. There's an amazing benefit to having chocolate as a human being, but during the war, it would melt in the soldiers' pockets, and so M&M was created based off of this methodology of coating it in a sugar container, basically, that wouldn't melt in your pocket, or in your hands, as the slogan goes. It melts in your mouth. And so it was made basically as an attempt to support in 1941 the army, and the military was their only customer of these products. And what I loved about the story too, which was cool, is that M&M, the two M's, one stands for the Mars, the last name of the company now. It was I think the son of the founder of Mars, and then it was the president of the Hershey Chocolate Company was a co-owner in the business, because at the time Hershey's had all the ration for all the chocolate in the United States.
Wow. And
so the only way to make chocolate was to buy it from Hershey. And so that's why I thought those two facts were awesome. So this has got a hazelnut filling on the inside, and so that's what we were playing with, is that when
we also could have gone peanut M&Ms, but we'd just done the peanut butter, so we were wanting to play with that hazelnut. I liked it. I thought it went well together. A little bit of earthiness. You still get that like sugar coating at the end finish. What'd y'all think?
I think if your bite of cheese is too big, it'll definitely overpower. So you want to make sure that the chocolate and the cheese are about the same size on this particular pan. Like cheese, baby. So I still get the hazelnut. Think about Nutella. Basically is a sugar coating around something like Nutella.
They actually taste more like Nutella when they're together.
When they're together, right? Mm-hmm. Nutella
in the right proportion
has a lot more of that hazelnut sort of aroma mixed into it. This, because of the small quantity.
Okay, confession time. Has anybody ever, like, with their fingers eaten Nutella out of the jar?
Yeah.
Just curious. I have.
Well, I have. Why not? We've got one. We've got a jar sitting on the counter from Espelette in France, just in case the craving hits.
Eat it. So Bria and Bradford both looked up the scary cheese face Yeah, it's crazy. And Brandon agreed that ratio is important. Because you're saying the last one was the best. All right. So let's keep them moving. This has been fun so far.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm having a blast.
It's hard to think of my favorite because they all do something really different with each other. So they're either like bringing out the cheese flavor more, bringing out the salt more, bringing out a component like the nuttiness, either sweet or going more savory.
And I think that the flavor of the combination lasted way longer than the Reese
Yeah, it's still on my
I
palate.
think the two lingered a lot longer.
So the next one is our biggest challenge, but we will thought we must put a Peep on this plate or our kids are not going to get excited. So I don't know how you pair with Peeps marshmallow because there's like literally no food in this. But who cares about
Doesn't
food,
matter.
right?
It's not important.
Oh my gosh, if you pick it up, it's like melted, adhered to the Gouda. So let's talk about this Gouda.
I did read a fact today that they maybe have never used blue dye before in it. Peep. So I haven't verified that. That'll be my
fun fact.
That'll
There's
be
no
my
blue
doctorate in candy next year, maybe.
All right, guys. So this is Marieke Gouda. We sell it in a couple different ages. So this is the 2 to 4 month. Marieke is a Dutch immigrant living in Wisconsin. She's making amazing cheeses there. And in fact, she sweeps awards every year at the American Cheese Society, and her Goudas will win in the 2 to 4 month, 4 to 6 month, 6 to 12 month, and all these multiple age ranges. She also has a lot of fun flavored ones, which we don't carry in our shop, but you can get around that are like fenugreek flavored, and I don't remember the other ones, but because I love the fennel one, I remember that,
so
or cumin flavored. So this is her younger Gouda. You can tell
truffle. She does truffle.
it still has a semi-soft texture. Semi-soft cheeses are better melters because they still have higher moisture content. So as a cheese ages, it gets harder because these styles, as these cheeses age, they get harder because they're draining out more moisture. The harder they get, the worse melters they are. This one is a cow's milk cheese. What else do I want to say about it? I don't know. I haven't had the 2 to 4 month in a long time. And so really we were trying to look at something that's just a yummy, easygoing cheese that isn't super strong in any one flavor profile to just kind of okay, hold hands with the Peeps. So let's see if we can hold hands together. The cheese tastes delicious.
Marieke does amazing dances whenever she wins awards. So if you want to look that up also on the internet right now, I'm sure you can find it. The cheese is amazing. So
it's so creamy and palate coating.
Milky, creamy.
Milky.
There's just a smidge of caramel. But this cheese is so young.
It's like what a processed cheese tastes like without having fake hydrogenated oils in it. And by that I mean that texture. It's not the taste, it's the texture. I love that texture that's like semi-soft. Anyway, it just feels like cheeses reminiscent of my childhood that weren't artisanal cheeses, but this is an artisan cheese.
Yeah, and it's good quality milk. It comes right from their farm, which is right next door to their creamery. It's just a marshmallow. You love marshmallow. Think of it like a Rice Krispie treat with marshmallow in it. That'll make you happy.
It's kind of fun to lick the bottom, which had
cheese on it,
salt on it.
So the way that flavor develops in cheese is by breakdown of proteins for most of the cheeses. And so at a young age, this cheese hasn't had much time. So there's not as much. It's amazing flavor. Incredible. Most people will love it.
Weird.
But if you take this then 6, 8, 12 months later, the flavors are vastly different. There's a lot more to them. More layers, more length, more depth.
Caramel, butterscotch. As it ages out, you get more caramel butterscotch notes, which is typical of a Gouda style. So when you age out, you're able to bring out, with maturity, all these more nuanced flavors, similar to a red wine that spends a long time aging out, as you're bringing out more nuance in the milk and highlighting certain things, which can be really hard about aging cheeses because you might get down the road and realize it brought out flavor profiles that you didn't really want to accentuate. So, but this is a good cheese that tastes really good at multiple different ages.
Yeah.
I was not. You didn't do it yet. What did y'all think? I was not
Did it make you happy or disappoint you?
I am pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, I could eat that. What did y'all think? Reading about government cheeses. Oh, good. Somebody thought this was incredible. So I agree, Shelley. It's like the sweet and salt. I think it just is like nothing is like trying to run out and flash everybody and be the showstopper like some of Kendall's college days.
It's just really
It's just
pleasant.
like, yeah.
It's like what you would feel when you get a Peep as a gift. Just
Actually, I feel happier with this than if I got a Peep.
so,
and I do think, do y'all think, and that's
Look
just
at
the
it.
color is the power of suggestion, but I feel like it's like a lemon flavored Peep. I wonder if the pink ones are different colors. Oh, somebody's dog ate the Peep. Sorry, Mary. I don't know what problems your dog's going to have later. All right, I'm glad you guys all like the pairing too. If I was drinking, I do not think would go. I think tannin of a big bold red would be weird with this pairing. So to me, it could still step to a lighter, fruitier red or a white wine or bubbles. Bubbles are always good with cheese because it's palate coating and bubbles rock. Sparkling water, Topo Chico Rambler. We usually have a Rambler in front of us. You're still eating. Did you just eat that whole Peep?
I wanted to experience it in its full
Like,
form.
where did the Peep go?
Oh, that was outstanding. Now, what's fascinating about that pairing, most of the time when you're eating a Gouda, customers and cheesemongers alike are all looking for that crunch, the tyrosine. We get asked that question, which cheese has the crunchy bits in it? So what's pretty neat is that the sugar coating, if you're paying attention, if your bite was big enough, every bite you take is crunching on the sugar. And so your brain is picking that up maybe as a clue like the tyrosine crystals. It made the cheese actually develop flavors that I'd expect in a 6-month version.
Okay, and I can tell my piece is different, but this is a rind that you don't necessarily want to eat. I'm going to show it to you. So you can see that little orange bit on there. It's just a thin paraffin wax rind that was painted on there. It won't hurt you if you eat it. All rinds have to be edible to be on a cheese. My piece, the wax rind came off of it, but just showing you that was an example of one that you wouldn't necessarily like. Oh, I have to eat the wax rind.
That was outstanding with the big bite. I was really...
That was an impressive bite.
It was really good, and it was fun. It was fun to chew on. So the Peep, I was too busy eating. So
we're going to learn about the history of the Peep.
the Rhoda Candy Company.
It's 7
in
o'clock.
the 40s and we have 4 minutes. 40s and 50s, they were doing the Peeps by hand. They were shaping by hand, and another company, just born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, bought them, modernized the manufacturing of the Peep, and the reason why it's called the Peep is the first iteration of the marshmallow was the chick. It was the first version, and that's why it's called the Peep.
Oh,
Cool.
that
All
was
right,
cool.
You can move on.
I can't imagine hand
move on.
shaping these. So thank you for that bit of history.
Cool.
Okay, next up, Pantaleo. This, we had a young goat's milk cheese. This is our aged goat's milk cheese. This is from Italy. From Sardinia, a craggly island area that doesn't have any cows on it because there's not good grasses and pasture feeding. So it really is more suited to sheep and goats who can maneuver across those craggles. The sea salt often blows on these grasses and the foliage that the animals are eating. We get this through a brand called Mitica. It's a pasteurized cheese, and as goat's milk cheeses, it smells like a goat's milk cheese. One fun fact, when you're looking at goat's milk cheeses, they are usually the brightest white in coloring, and that's because they can process the beta carotenes in grass, whereas sheep can't to a lesser extent, and then cows can't. So your visual cue will always be, if it's most likely a bright white cheese that's aged out, it'll be a goat's milk cheese. Looking at the plate, that's kind of challenging because it's next to the Marica Gouda, which looks more white, but that right now is because that Marica Gouda is really young, and this is from winter milk, so the animals were not pasture raised.
So
okay, that was a lot of lessons crammed into one little bit.
Pairing,
how did it taste?
I'm sure it tasted amazing to me. I love Pantaleo. I love the way that this flavor profile comes forward. You get nice acidity.
When you taste it, it tastes like the sweet tart.
Well,
but it has that acidity, that tanginess.
Oh, Bobby, you better get back to work, sir, if you have to eat everything that fast. So thank you
We love our doctors.
We love our doctors. Thank you for all your service these days.
And nurses and everybody else in the medical field. And grocery.
So this one was invented in 1962 by a company that basically they were making pixie sticks already. So they used the same recipe to make the sweet and sweet. So this is pushing acid against acid. So that's sour against the acid of the goat milk. Puckering taste. That's interesting. Kendall's not quite sure where she's at.
No, it was sweet, and no, it was sour, and then it went sweet.
You may want to take a bigger bite of cheese to go along with the sweet tart on this one.
I like it. It's weird.
This is your favorite style of candy.
I'm still chewing my sweet tart.
Which color did you go with?
Yellow.
I
think the color might matter. I just choked on a little piece. What do you think? What do y'all think? I actually think that they pair well together. You just have to like sweet tarts.
I went with grape.
Where's the water?
I went with grape, and both. What it did, what the grape actually numbed some of the goatiness in it, some of the animal flavor profile for me on the nose. It's quite good. I'm the blue right now.
Okay, I can do it again, guys. I just got it down the wrong pipe.
Oh.
So.
Would that mean I get the microphone for the next few minutes?
Hey, I have let you have the microphone a lot tonight because I did not research all of this history. Okay, did the flavor matter? Y'all try it with bigger bite of cheese is what I heard. Somebody's saying, I did choke on a piece of it. The first reaction was my flavor reaction. The second part was choking because I made such a weird reaction. The lemon was a little bit zingy.
I preferred the grape over the blue. Let's just assume they all have different flavor profiles.
All right, here we go again.
Yeah, let's do it. What an experience. And we know it's 7 o'clock. If you have to get off, we'll be finished in just a few minutes. If you have to get off, we'll be posting this to Facebook, and you can come back and watch it in a little bit.
So that one was much easier for me. I think it was just my palate set by the first one and that big tanginess. And now I knew what to expect. And
What color?
Just a green.
Yeah.
All right. So that one's up in the air.
Well, the interesting thing about cheeses like this is that when you start breaking into them, they will coat your tongue a little bit in butterfat, and that might protect your tongue from any of the real sour compounds that are.
And I agree with Christopher. I'm sorry I'm laughing because I can imagine it. There's no way. I mean, you could pay me to put that with a red, but I really would not pair that with a big bold red because of the texture of the goat's milk chalkiness with that tangy and with tannin. None of that sounds good to me. Like they're all like fighting to be the star and an aggressive boxing match with cheap punches.
Yeah, hopefully, Christopher, that wasn't the bottle of wine you've been saving up for 10 years.
Yeah.
If it was, this was the best time to do it. Thank you.
I agree. Not a big red on that one. A red would have been really good with the Holler Harker and hazelnuts too.
So
okay.
You may just want to quickly reset your palate by having a cracker.
Or a hazelnut. No.
Corn nut.
Corn nut. Okay, that last one, that kind of made me cry a little bit. Okay. I'm really glad we didn't go with the, what were we going to do? Sour Patch Kids or something?
Yep.
Okay. Hey. Oh, and we already is really impressed with your chocolate research, your candy research. Okay, y'all,
perfect.
I'm really excited about this last one. We're going over to California again. Point Reyes Original Blue with the Giacomi sisters. These cows gorge, eat on some gorgeous pasture, right seaside, right there in Point Reyes. This is a raw milk cheese, is what I was trying to say.
So the Giacomini sisters,
Blue cheese, clearly blue cheese.
run this farm now, and it's one of the. This is, when you think of a wedge salad, I mean, like when I moved to Texas and all of a sudden saw wedge salads on every single menu. This is what you'd expect from that flavor profile.
Wedge salads are awesome.
Yeah, I love them.
Have you often had like a Waldorf?
Waldorf, different. But so the flavor profile, this is like the artisan version of that. This is super high quality. They win awards constantly for this cheese. In our shop, you'll likely have seen Bay Blue more frequently from that company because it's got a natural rind, and we quite like that as a play. This, though, is sort of this is what you would make killer blue cheese dressing out of. This is what you would melt on a steak. This would make a perfect burger. This cheese, their Original Blue, is outstanding. Hopefully we have some tomatoes coming soon, tomato season. This would be great on some tomatoes. Yep.
Blue cheese, when it's in the when it's still in liquid form in the vat, you inoculate it with a strain of blue mold that derives from Penicillium roqueforti, and then this mold is actually an aerobic mold. So what that means is later on, when you have the cheese in a hard, solid form, you go punch it with needles, and you're not, people think you're injecting it blue into it. You're not. You're just making holes in it, and that allows the oxygen to hit the mold that's already present in the cheese, and that's what creates the veining, or veining is the blue coloring, or blue or green or yellow depending on the age and mold variations. Blue cheeses, known for being super salty. This is a salt content bomb. We often regularly pair these with chocolates in our shop, with our artisanal chocolates. Great with caramel on them. This is an ideal pairing to match contrasting flavors. So salt with sweet. So we will do strawberry jam. We'll do caramel sauce. Honey and blue cheese are a classic pairing. So this is one of those that's really hard to pair, like salt with salt is not something I would typically do, but sweet with salty, if anybody's drinking port or sherry or any of the fortified digestif wines, this is a great pairing with that as well. Yeah. So
yeah, this one I would say was probably the easiest of everything to pair.
We had not seen a caramel Cadbury egg.
And so Cadbury is a historically significant company. The unfortunate thing for all of you that wanted to get really great history from me is the only thing they have history about is the original Cadbury cream-filled egg, and which is not this.
Let's see. Oh.
Yeah, look at that. So,
okay. I was hoping for like some, ooh. Oh, look, I got that moment. Oh,
so,
yeah.
Again, I would say equal portions cheese to the chocolate egg when you're ready to bite.
I'm just going to keep doing this because it looks kind of like caramel sexy. Ooh.
Caramel sexy, hashtag.
And it's not breaking. All right, so I'm going to just eat a whole piece of mine together with it. I love the caramel. I love the chocolate.
Yep, half and half.
Hey, we can't talk for just a minute.
Thank you so much for being a part of this experience. Kendall and I feel so blessed that we still get to be an active part of our classes and our team. So good. And that we get to live our mission, which is do good, eat good. And so one of the things that's tragic about our industry right now, amongst industries, is that the animals, they don't stop milking just because we're all on stay-at-home order. So cheesemakers all across the country are having to make really difficult choices. Jasper Hill, the farm that we're going to be spotlighting on Saturday, the reason why we're spotlighting them is because they had to make a tough choice this last week to disband their herd because they weren't in a position to keep up with the amount of milk that the animals were making, and they thought it best for the health of the animals to move them to liquid dairy operations. And
when we say disperse the herd, that's not as easy as like, oh, I'll just give them away for a little bit. They've worked 15 years on their own genetics and developing the breed that they wanted it and mixing in certain different breeds and having a certain mixed milk quality. So to just say, oh, King's X, we can't keep it any longer is extremely challenging and really disheartening, especially considering they've won Best of Show 2 times for 2 different cheeses. Often win categories or have a world's best cheese.
World's best unpasteurized cheese, which we'll be tasting on Saturday.
So if you want a behind-the-scenes experience, and don't worry, you don't get a lot of John and Kendall. This one is pretty unique. Mateo Keeler, the owner-founder, is recording video and going to do live video talking us through with the pastures and the dairy cows, and they have in the United States the most impressive aging cellars or caves with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cheeses in them. So if you want to join us Saturday, but what you were getting back to was just the importance of supporting makers at this time. And while there are so many people affected, I think every day brain comes up to somebody new who is experiencing COVID in a different way. And just what it means for our entire society. For the makers, it's hard because people are dumping milk. Like there's just a clog in that supply chain when we also know that milk is not on grocery stores. So anything you can do in supporting us is supporting these makers, and we thank you for that. Yeah. All right, so that was our lovey-dovey. Tell us, with your little heart emojis, we're going to go through which was your favorite one. So we're going to start with pairing number 1. Was number 1 your favorite pairing? Show us your emojis.
7 Kit Kat. Mine's all gone.
I think there's a delay because nobody's answering. That was a pretty good one.
There is a delay, but that's all right.
Okay. All right, 7 Kit Kat was number 1. Okay. Number 2 was Caña de Oveja and the Oreo. You know, that one wasn't bad, but I think it was just not as memorable, like compared to the other ones. All right, that was number 2.
Love, so many hearts. So many hearts. Love it.
I think it's probably one. Okay. Whose favorite was number 3? Red Hawk and the Reese's Pieces.
I'm going in for my own bite.
Okay, you do that.
Woo.
Whose favorite is number 4? Holler Hawker with hazelnut M&Ms. Bring it, people. Bring it. Oh. Okay. Whose favorite number 5? Peeps and Gouda.
I love that one. That was wild.
We're just senile. We're drunk on Easter candy. All right, whose favorite at the same time was the Sweet Tarts and Pantaleo?
All one of you. Go ahead, do it.
It just depends on what kind of candy you like. And last but not least, whose favorite was the blue cheese?
Mama, you said you told me.
Well,
Apparently
I had to eat it. Who's working?
Blue cheese with the Cadbury caramel egg.
Yeah.
Was that good?
All right. So with that, what did I say? Thank you so much. We know that this is just a silly one. The art tastings do have more information in them. Although I can't say that because you
amazing.
loaded that with information.
That was amazing. I loved every second of this tasting.
We're going to be doing Facebook Live tastings every Wednesday, and it's always a different topic. So there's still seats available to our seats. Is your couch available? Because then there's seats available.
Yeah.
But next
How many people are wearing pajamas right now? I'm assuming it's a lot.
Next Wednesday, you take the sweet tart. Next Wednesday, we're doing Taste of Texas, so that's a great way to support our Texas makers. And we'll be doing them every Wednesday from here on out. Our team is also doing different tastings every single night, like cheese and pickles and cheese and jam, cheese and cured meats. And those are smaller groups via private video conferencing. And you can also do, if you have a private party up or celebration, as long as you have 8 different people, we can do it as a private party for you too, and you can all see each other and chat. So those are all just some ways that you continue to support our mission and our team and all these awesome makers. And diving in. You didn't finish your spinach.
I did. I'm not joking.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
You have to share that with your brother.
I already gave him that.
All right. So with that being said,
Can you?
truly, madly, deeply, we appreciate you. This is hard. These times are hard. And any given day, I feel like I'm winning, and then the next day, I feel like I'm failing. I think it's important that we're all staying safe and take care of everybody else by staying home. So thank you for doing your part in that. And then hopefully, most importantly, we can find ways to continue to connect as a community. We are open and loud and proud of it, but we are both survivors of depression, and we think isolation can be particularly challenging. So if you are at home going crazy because there's too many people in your house, or if you are at home going crazy because just you, feel you on both of them. And so you're not alone. You can always join us with a Facebook Live, the Antonellis, or ping us in some way. I don't even know what ping you means.
No.
So DM us. Would it slide into my DMs? I don't even know what that means either. But the point being that you're not alone, and there are resources out there, and we get through this together. And if you have a bad day, that's okay. And if you have a good day, awesome. And let's celebrate it and give ourselves some grace. So with that, thank you guys. Cheers.
Thanks, y'all. Cheers. Have an awesome night. Can't wait to drink with you in person soon.
Happy Easter Passover.